AI lets people feel like creators without having to do the creating part. So the question becomes, when someone presses a button and a fully playable video game comes out on the other side, what exactly are we paying for? And what have we lost in the process? I think those are two questions we need to try and answer. AI in gaming is facing the same problem as an industry that people face as individuals. The scary part is what all of this reveals about us, because it means that we've been practicing for that moment over the past few years with the way that we use AI. And so this video is about AI generated games, but also about the uncomfortable question of whether, when something is made entirely by AI, who is actually the person that made that thing, and does anyone actually care about the thing? And so this is the gaming industry's AI moment, right? Where AI is already embedded in gaming. If you look at Nvidia's partnerships with OpenAI and the things they've attempted to do, the software they've made, their attempts with frame generation to add to the world of gaming, procedural world building, injecting AI into NPCs to change their behavior and create a more personalized experience. These are already things that are happening as we speak. So the trajectory of all of these things is very clear. The tools are going to get better, and adoption of people accepting these tools is accelerating at a much faster rate. So the industry is leaning towards this trend and this open-mindedness, right? So the real question is not so much if we will have AI generated games, but rather how long until we have AI generated games, and in the process, when we do, what have we lost when we get there? And so the idea that I'd like to introduce is that as a community, as gamers, we already have these instincts about this issue, and it's a lot sharper than I think the industry gives us credit for. So what I call the high God moment is that people can already tell. If you look at High God, for example, a very controversial game, I've spoken about it on this channel as well. You look at the character design, the maps, the world elements, and some aspects of the gameplay. People mocked this game, saying that it was an AI random generation, and so the comparison between this product that was offered, a AAA title, with an AI tool is being used as an insult. The comparison is the insult, because people can recognize the absence of soul when there's no vision and there's no passion, and they can instinctively call on those problems and point them out. But the irony of this issue is that the same people who can spot these soulless outputs, these visionless products that are being put in front of us, they can't spot that issue in their own AI generated content and the way they interact with AI. And so that's where the tension comes from, right? We know what bad looks like, so why do we keep allowing ourselves to keep making bad things? This is what I call the empowerment trap, is why that AI makes us feel powerful, but in reality it makes us a lot weaker. The thing is, AI closes the gap between having no skills and appearing to have one, and it's that feeling of power that is the real danger in this situation. That is what makes this so deadly. Let me give you an example. If you have never tasted a carrot cake in your life, you've never seen carrot cake, you've never smelled carrot cake, you don't know what it is, and I walk up to you with this bowl, this dessert, and I give it to you and I make you eat it and I say, this is carrot cake. You tell me it is delicious, it's the best dessert you've ever had, but you've never actually had carrot cake, and I tell you this is carrot cake, but in reality inside this bowl is just an orange pudding. There's no carrot and there isn't even a cake here. But the problem is, because you've never had the actual thing, you don't know that this is the incorrect thing. And so the issue with AI, if you're using it to make things, is that you can't tell the difference. You can't spot what's right or wrong if you have never built the thing that you are referencing. So what that means is, no matter how much you use AI and how much AI you pay for, you cannot shortcut the time that it takes to develop taste, to develop experience, and to develop the nuance and the reactions and the information that is necessary based on real life experience. It is that same experience that allows you to judge the quality of that output. Like a person who's been doing copywriting for 10 years using ChatGPT is absolutely terrifying compared to a person who has never written a single paragraph in their life and just using ChatGPT to produce a polished deterred. So the cold, hard truth that I think people don't want to hear is that AI doesn't make you better in any way. It doesn't make anything better. It just makes you feel better while producing shitter work. And there is this time illusion that people fall for, and we need to understand that AI isn't actually saving you anything. A lot of people believe that AI saves time, but in most cases, if you are honest about what's actually happening, it doesn't save you any time at all. It just takes all of the effort and it puts all that effort into prompting and editing a bunch of shit. That's all it does. Someone with real knowledge and fluency can make a social media post in 5 minutes. They just write straight from the experience, straight from the brain to the thumbs to publish, and that is faster than any AI workflow in the world. If you are not efficient at the thing to where you can begin spilling information off the top of your dome, then it means you are a fraud and you are using AI to enable you as a fraud. That feeling of efficiency that you get when you use AI is actually just an illusion. You see the AI generating things and thinking so fast and doing all these amazing things, and you mistake that speed for your own productivity. So when you take something that AI has thought about and made for you and you pretend to edit that thing, let's be honest, you're just removing the AI slop language, the M dashes and all the commas and all the weird things that it does, and you just try and make it look more natural, but ultimately it lost all of that value. So you're not adding anything of yourself. None of you is in this product. There's none of you that you've left and added and used to create this whatever it is that you're trying to make here. Now, to bring this idea back to gaming, which is where we started, is that this is essentially the industry scale version of the exact same problems that we are experiencing personally. A lot of these companies are replacing and laying off so many employees, and people are losing their jobs like nobody's business, being replaced in some cases with AI. And people were correctly angry with that situation. That anger is the same instinct that people felt for High God, as we spoke about just now. The NVIDIA frame generation thing, for example, where they can take the thing and use AI to make the models look better and clearer and whatever. Essentially, AI is changing the visuals of a game at a rendering level. So you are reworking and removing the original thing that the artist made for me, that I paid for. It's no longer his work as far as I'm concerned. At what point does a game stop being a human product? And in that same breath, should piracy still be considered a wrong thing if a human didn't make it? Because what exactly is the sacrifice that I'm paying for if you didn't make the thing, if all you did was press a button? So that line between the creator and the tool is blurring very quickly, and I feel like the industry is not drawing that division clearly enough. So where should that line be, and why exactly is the community the last line of defense in this kind of a situation? And don't get me wrong, there are some legitimate uses for AI. I believe, especially in businesses, menial automation, I'm talking spreadsheets, data capturing, administrative tasks. Let's say you're a creative generating a very specific asset that you can't find online. I'm a creative and I know sometimes I've searched for hours and hours. It's just this one little asset that I can't make. You can't source it anywhere. I understand. And when you're trying to save time on genuine non-creative tasks that don't require any thinking, like a lot of admin, for example, you don't need to think, you just need to do repetitively for time. That's okay. I think AI has its place for helping us do things quicker. But the line, I think, for me is when AI begins to answer the problem or to think and make decisions on my behalf in order to answer those problems. That is where the difference is for me, and that's where I draw the line. Gaming has been with people for their entire lives. It's not just some kind of a product that people have been consuming. It has a lot of emotional weight, relationships, friendships, bonds were formed through gaming. It is important to a lot of people, and that's why I don't believe that the community needs to be passive about what is happening at the moment. Now, I can understand that potentially things may sound a lot more dramatic and a lot worse than it actually is, and I understand that. We'll really see in the next few years how things go, and that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles in this case. I do think us as a community, we need to have this level of alertness, maybe not be so ignorant towards certain things, be a bit more vocal when things are wrong, and respond to these issues in a timely manner when it matters, because the industry will go as far as we allow it to. The things that happen because there are people who support it and do it, and that's what we need to understand. We do create the motion of the ocean in this case, and we do have that kind of power. So I'd rather like to close on the question instead of trying to answer it. In 5 years time, for example, when you buy a game, will you be able to tell if that thing has been made by a human? And in that moment, will you care enough to ask? My name is Uncle Tofu, and I appreciate you for watching until the end of this video. If you've made it this far, I would really appreciate it if you let me know in the comments down below what you think, your opinions, and maybe what you'd like to see from me next. Leave a like on this video because it really helps us out, and it would mean the world to me if you subscribe and join us along for this journey. And with all of that being said, I will see you in the next one. Take care.